Welcome to Bedford County Sports Talk Live, hosted by David Thomas, Bill Anderson, and Kenny Parker. Brought to you by First Bank of Shelbyville. And Kincaid Service Company. Let's talk some sports. Here are your hosts, David Thomas, Bill Anderson, and Kenny Parker.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Bedford County Sports Talk Live. I'm David Thomas. Across from me is newly named community high school football coach, Glenn Tidwell.
Congratulations, Coach.
Congratulations. Kenny Parker, Bill Anderson.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to dive into some scores to start today. But before we do, we want to hear from our sponsors, First Bank and Kincaid
Service Company.
Where service is their middle name.
We'll be right back.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street today.
Welcome back in here to Bedford County Sports Talk Live. Again, we want to thank our sponsors this morning, and that would be First Bank here on Madison Street, and also Kincaid
Service
Company
right here on Madison Street. And, one thing that we've always talked about is that service that Kincaid has.
Well, I got a question for the new coach at community. Coach, do you like hauling stuff off?
Absolutely not. My wife will tell you that.
So she like hauling it off. You can tell me that.
I'm not going down that road.
And where would you take it if you hauled it off?
That's right.
Who knows?
Hey, it happened at work this week. Washing machine went out.
Really?
Yep.
So you bought one?
Where'd you buy one from?
Kincaid Service Company. I mean, within 15 minutes, they've hauled the old one off, got a new one in, hooked up, and we're back rocking and rolling.
I'll tell you what, I was glad I didn't have to come across the table.
I mean, literally 15 minutes, and you got a business where you're having to wash. That was important.
Coach acts like
I'm gonna need to be calling them soon. After going through some stuff at school, wash machine's out, so I may be having to call them soon to get a new wash machine. So
there you go.
The Speed Queen's the one you want to go with.
You won't be disappointed.
No.
I promise you that.
No, top-notch company, been around forever. It's a family business, local.
And if it breaks, they'll fix it. They don't try to get you to just buy a new one. If they can fix it, they'll fix it.
And when you walk in there, if somebody walks in with a sports team or a local charity, and they sponsor, they're a sponsor. They support the community. So same thing with First Bank. Of course, they're not locally owned, but the gang here locally is fantastic, and they do a whole lot for our sports in Bedford County.
They sure do.
All right, Bill, you got some scores, basketball scores. Run through what we got here.
Shelbyville played Summit earlier in the week. The girls lost 55-45, but the Shelbyville boys upset Summit 44-41. It was a good win for the boys.
Summit, okay. Okay, all right.
And then they played Centennial, and the girls walloped them 55-21. The boys lost to 61-40, and Centennial was pretty doggone good. So that wasn't much of a surprise there. The boys are 5-4. The girls are 4-5. And the boys are going up to Warren, East Kentucky to play today. I'm not sure where that's at, but they're going to play up there. So that's a boys-only deal, not the girls. Right. Just the boys headed up there. Cascade girls played Eagleville this week. The girls won 48-38. The boys lost 68-56. But this Eagleville team, guys,
is very good.
Yeah. Coach Davis said that was probably the best team he's faced.
Yeah,
and Cascade hung with them. Mm-hmm. And then a tough loss for the girls. Huntland beat the Cascade girls last night 33-32.
Did not shoot the ball well at all and made a heck of a comeback. And had a chance to win at the end and missed a shot.
Wow.
Cascade boys 85, Huntland 38.
They were hot.
All right, community played Cornersville this week. The girls lost 54-47. And the community boys, Coach Robbie Davis with a 63-60 win there. Their rematch with Macon County. Now, this time it was 49-44 Macon County over the community girls. And Macon County had their football boys back.
Yeah.
Who had just won a state championship, by the way.
Yeah.
And they beat Community 51-40. So the community boys are 7-5. The community girls are 5-5. And the community girls, I believe, have lost 3 in a row. So they're on a little bit of a skid right here. Let's talk about Webb for a minute. Webb played Middle Tennessee Christian, 51-39. The girls win. Middle Tennessee Christian on Monday night, I think it was 80-59 Webb. And then last night they went over to Columbia Academy. Webb girls 45, Columbia Academy 40. Webb boys 67, Columbia Academy 58. And the girls are 4-3. The boys are 5-2. And I want to give a shout out to my good friend Jeff Howard. His son Jax signed with MTSU basketball.
Ooh, right. All right. Yeah. I just looking
Jeff and his family.
Looking at all these records. Shovel boys, they're above 500. They're 5-3. The girls are 4-5. They're hovering right at 500. Right. Every other team in the county is over 500. Got a winning season going. Now shifting into your district games, I know there's some tough contests there. How do y'all see it playing out?
Well, you got a bunch of Christmas tournaments.
We've got a lot of games. I don't think they shift into that till January.
Right, in January.
But I think we're going to be competitive all the way around all year long.
Okay, that's good to hear.
All year long.
I know
and I think Sheffield, one of their better players is down right now. Girls. And,
is that right?
She didn't dress. Yeah, they get her back. The girls are going to be. It's the big girl inside. Right. I'm not sure what her name is.
Mm-hmm. She's a sophomore.
She's a sophomore.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got some pretty good things going on in Bedford County with basketball this year. An improvement from last year, specifically the Sheffield boys. I think what they win last year, 4 games total.
4 or 5, and they've already won that total now.
So, and the girls are holding steady there. Community's always solid, and we've got winning records there. Mm-hmm. And then in Cascade, of course, the boys are good. The girls, it's amazing what they've done over the last couple of years, getting those young kids up into upperclassmen now.
What's happened is those freshmen,
juniors and seniors,
juniors and seniors, like we always.
So it's fun to watch how these kids grow and develop and become better. Mm-hmm. And overall, the programs are lifted with them. So
it's funny. Last week we had Coach Davis on. Robbie does a great job on here, but I had another coaching buddy who was talking to me about how he hated to play Robbie. That's what he mean. It's that doggone zone. You got everything worked out, and you go play Davis, and he throws the zone on you. And I thought that was kind of funny because he said we just don't see it much, but he did like seeing him because of that. He did like seeing him because that's one of the few chances he gets to see it.
I like a zone. I like a zone.
Well, if you just don't have the athletes to go up and down the floor with somebody, there's nothing wrong with playing zone.
Hey, and it's no different than when I was coaching. We went down to Wayne County and played Wayne County, and they run the split back veer, and here we go see the option. You know what Notre Dame, Army, Navy, which is today. That's what you see. And
right.
When you don't see that stuff, it takes work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, high school sports going well in basketball, and now we're going to shift gears and coach. Congratulations once again for being named head coach out at Community. Just tell us how that process went and tell us a little bit about yourself because a lot of people don't know that you've coached around here for a while.
I've been here a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's probably been about a month since the process started from the time the job, I guess, opened and of course, going through the interview process. And last Friday night, Dr. Ralston gave me a call while I was sitting in the stands at the Central and Siegel game.
Yeah.
And made a decision then. And it's been a busy week.
Yeah.
It really has. Once it got announced on Monday, 2:00, 2:30, somewhere in there, it's been busy. But
it's not going to slow down either.
And that's fine.
That's fine.
No. Well, you've got some time to get your legs under you before you get in. Yeah. Well, you've already started, I'm sure, evaluating what you've got to deal with and all that. So I'm going to ask a question. I'm sure these guys have one. As far as staff goes, how many do you think you'll have? Will you get any that will be teachers or that are staff positions at Community? How many will be there? And
we're still working on numbers as far as I don't think they know fully how many spots are going to be available in the school yet.
Right.
It's not pressing right this second. I've got a handful of guys that I'm talking to that we're waiting to see how that goes, but it'll probably be somewhere February before
Right.
I'm still going to be over at Cascade for the third 9 weeks of the new year, and go back over there like my last period of the day, and then fully over there during probably the first week of March. I'll be starting full time over at Community. So a lot of stuff will really take place once I get fully in the building and get my feet over there.
One other question, I'll let these guys. When will you get hands-on work with the kids?
Well, once I start in the third 9 weeks, we'll probably, because by the time I leave Cascade to get to community, it's about 2:00. So
Right.
school's at 3.
Yeah, a little
so it'll
late.
be about a 45 minutes, and we'll probably spend some time in a classroom, talking about expectations, from me and them and what we're going to do as a program, and maybe start X's and O's a little bit on because I don't know what they know.
Right.
And so we'll just take little baby steps and get that going.
So it's going to be a learning process for everybody. Yeah.
So
one of the tough things that was for Coach Grooms even out there was the fact that it was just him and a couple. There wasn't people in the building. And to coach football, you have to have coaches. It can't be just you.
Right.
You and one guy. It just can't be. And you can't coach a football team that way. Yeah. Can't do it.
You can 1 year, but you can't.
No, you just can't.
My first year at Cascade, was David and I.
Yeah.
But after that, we
you got a lot of kids to deal with.
Exactly.
You got 40, maybe in a big class coming in here. I don't know how many it's going to be, but one person or two people and 40 kids.
And he's coming into, we talked about freshmen and sophomores. Yeah. This year he's going to be juniors, freshmen, and sophomores because he got a good 8th grade class coming in.
A big freshman class coming in.
I think there were 2 seniors that are graduating. Right. And so looking at the roster that they had, and I don't know how many were still there when it was in the year. If you just take that number with the incoming potential of the freshmen, it's close to 50 kids.
Oh, wow.
So if we can even get close to that, and that's not pulling any new kids that maybe played, decide not to play, and now they want to come back out and play. Maybe you get those kids and that number goes up. But if I can start with 50 kids, I mean, I'm not even going to be
numbers are good. Numbers are good if you've got coaches, because if you got 50 kids, you got to have coaches to coach them.
Yeah,
and I would say if I had to guess, my goal is to have 3 to 4, have my paid positions, and then
get
three or 4 volunteers, and people have been just super, they want to come out and help. It's been overwhelming how many people, text messages, phone calls. We had a little player-parent meeting last night and got to kind of tell about myself and my vision for the program, and everybody's extremely excited. And what can we do to help? And so it's been good. So.
Well, Bill, you was going to ask about.
I'm going to ask another question because I remember an interview when James Franklin was hired at Vanderbilt, and I'll never forget it. Never forget this. And I asked him, I said, Coach, what are you going to run? And Franklin looked into the camera and he said, I'm good. I've run every offense there is to run defense. What can these kids do?
Exactly.
That's what I'm going to do. And if it's the wishbone or it depends on what these kids can do. So my question to you is, Coach, philosophy-wise, in a district where everybody's going spread now, everybody's wanting to air it out and spread it, what's your philosophy on running on offensively and defensively?
We're going to run the ball. We're going to be a mesh of the Veer offense and his favorite, the old wing T.
Winning T.
Winning T.
We're going to mess those. If people will go back and watch, I spent, last week watching the Tennessee State Championship games and the Alabama State Championship games, and the majority of those teams that won run the ball.
Run the ball.
Yeah, run the football.
Run the football. And people couldn't stop it.
And I'll tell you, the combination of those two offenses blend well together.
Very well.
We ran a little bit of the veer. We called it zero read, but we ran just a little bit. But I'm telling you that the wing T's hard to defend.
Well,
but then when you have to defend the spread offense too, and the veer.
Yeah,
it's
one of the things that I've noticed over the years. There's people say they run in the wing T, but the quarterback's not under center.
Ever.
That's not the wing T, because a lot of the deception comes when that quarterback turns his back.
Yeah. That's called the shotgun wing.
Yes, that's not the same.
And I bought a package to look into that, and I like it when the quarterback's got his back to everybody else and they can't see the ball. They don't know where it's going.
But you could still run some shotgun principles out of that. You still got to get under center.
Yeah.
So how many times have I seen these shotgun call wing T, Lawrence County in particular, and it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1.
Yeah,
they got to have it.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And you can't run a quarterback sneak because you're not under center.
TV on Saturdays watching college teams.
Yes.
It's 3rd or 4th and 1, and you're 6 yards deep.
All right, you got a fan.
So it blows my mind.
Exactly.
Because watch even the pro game to where we're running not just Hurts in the push tush play, but even Josh Allen, Lamar Jack, whoever the quarterback sneak is in play in the NFL. They know to go do it.
Yeah.
Why aren't we doing it at the high school level?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Some do, but a lot do not.
I don't disagree.
We watched football all year in high school. Saw a lot of different teams. I never saw a quarterback under center. Not one. It's always that shotgun position. I wonder how many of those kids could even take a snap.
Yeah, we'll be under center. I mean, not saying we won't ever.
Sure,
right?
Yeah, you got to.
But if I had to say 90% of our offense is going to be, if not more than that, is under center because we're going to run midline and inside veer and then go from there.
Yeah.
And
the one I'll remember last year was Tennessee at Alabama, and they had Joe Milton, and they're on the road to Alabama, and they had a 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 numerous times, and they never took a 245-pound quarterback ran a sneak because he was too far back in the shotgun running it.
Yeah.
And you're that far deep, it don't work, guys. But if you're 240, you lean over that center, that's first down. Cost them ball game.
One other thing, Kenny, you got any questions for Coach? All right.
Let's go back to defense a minute. What's the philosophy on defense? Because I know let's talk. You were the defensive coordinator for Coach Tyre at Cascade, too, for a couple of years.
Yeah, and it's central.
And it's central.
We run a 3-5-3,
okay,
but that's our base. And it's like I told the kids last night, I said, we'll be in a 3-5, but just by moving a few pieces, we'll be in a 4-man front. We'll be in a 5-man front. And if I want to be in a 6-man front, and I don't have to change a whole lot of personnel. And so that's the way it's worked. It's been good everywhere I've been for the most part. I mean, you're going to play teams at times that just out-athlete you.
Sure.
It doesn't matter what you run.
Exactly.
But it's –
And here's the thing, and Coach, we talked already. No matter what you run, your kids have got to believe in it.
Yep.
They've got to believe in it. They got to believe in you. They got to believe in it. And he's been told the same thing I was told when I went to Cascade. You can't win there. You're not going to be able to win there. But
and we did.
That's bull. You can and you will. But your kids got to believe. When they believe, they'll get hungry, they'll work harder, and that's what they want to see. They'll want to see Coach Ted will go out and work. And when Coach Tidwell goes out and works, and he works on this and that, the kids are going to buy in. They're going to buy in. The community's going to buy in. We've already said when Bill Anderson comes to help, I'm going to give him a hat. When David comes in, I'm going to give him a hat. We're going to buy in. The kids are going to buy in. And it doesn't matter what. He can run the diamond one like we ran at Chevrolet. I remember when I went to Cascade, we ran the 7-1, and the guy said, "You'll never win at Cascade with just one linebacker." And I said, "We'll see." Yeah. And but it doesn't matter what you run. It's what the kids can do, and do they have confidence in it? Do they have confidence in you? Do they have confidence in it? And it'll bleed.
What I've always said about all these jobs here is your biggest job is recruiting the hallways of your own school. Because I guarantee
when he does what he's going to do, he won't have to recruit the hallways. The hallways will come to him.
Right.
But I guarantee you there's kids that aren't playing that can play.
And they will come to him.
And I had quite a few when I was at Liberty. Those kids are now going to be, for next year, juniors and seniors. So I spoke to some of them last night at the basketball game, and I said, y'all got to help me out and get out in the hallways and get these kids out to play. So, it's a little easier for me. But you brought up somebody that I want to make a little shout out to, and that's Coach Tyre.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's been a huge supporter of mine. And so I just wanted to
Jake's good people.
Thank him for,
even though he's a Georgia fan.
Yeah, he can't be perfect, but
Jake's
good people.
I'm telling you, he's my brother.
Yeah.
All right, one question I have, and you've already answered it. Sort of, it sounds like that support's starting to rally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was going to ask the question: how do you take a program that's been down a little bit, that needs to be built back up? How do you get the support? I know the kids, the parents, they're going to be the first ones there, but the community around. How do you get that support to come out there to those games and to become a fan,
Well, we'll start out with, I've got to get the kids out of the community. That's the biggest thing too, is get out. And I don't know how much, if they have or haven't. I'm just going to assume that they haven't. Go that route. Get them out into doing things, having, camps at community. It's going to be hard not saying Cascade
Right.
sees, sometimes. But getting the kids there, having, doing special things for parents, within the program. Not always staying in the community or the Unionville area, venture out this direction,
Right.
and help do things here in this community as well, and come into the city schools here, the elementary schools, and do things there to raise awareness of, hey,
Right.
we are here. So I think doing those things in social media and just putting the place out there.
And Coach Liberty's your big feeder.
Yeah.
Going to Liberty and doing things at Liberty School.
So,
I mean, that's your feeder right there is Liberty.
So
And
somewhat. I mean,
right.
we
You got
get
there
handful,
too.
Yeah.
They get one or two. Liberty's still feed central.
So,
But you got your junior high program too.
Yep.
How do you measure junior high with your high school
So-
where it's actually like fluid?
my process is going to be, we're going to start down at the youth league and come up, because I want the same, not with your flags. I mean, flag is flag, but
Right.
when you get to the juniors and the senior groups of the youth league, I want them running something very similar to
Right.
what we're running in middle school, and middle school what we're doing in high school. So when they get to me, verbiage is all the same.
Yeah.
I don't have to teach a whole lot of things. There was when we got to when I was running defense at Cascade, and we were transitioning some stuff, and the kids move up, they don't know what a gap, B gap,
Right.
what what a 3-eye or a 4-eye or a zero text.
Those little bitty
Those
things.
are huge.
They don't necessarily have to call the offense just
Right.
like he's going to call his offense. They don't have to do that, run the exact same plays he's going to run. But the foundation verbiage, this is A gap, this is a B gap, this is C gap, this is a 1, 2, 3. Those kind of things. Right side is even numbers, left side's odd numbers. Those little things like that the general public don't see, those kids, it doesn't need to change for them, and that's what he's talking about.
But and then if you have to reteach it, so you're wasting that time that you could be doing something else. So if we can start it down at the youth league and work our way up, it just makes our transition when they get to high school a lot easier. So,
Right.
I mean, that's the plan. So,
Okay. What about the booster club wise?
well, I believe they had a booster club. It's non-existent right this second, but that's going to change.
Right.
So, a lot of things will change after the first of the year, and start meeting with those folks.
Right.
I've already reached out to some parents that I had at Liberty that are ready to go, and then some other parents that have reached out saying they want to be a part of it. So I think once we get it going, it's going to really take off, and because I need them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Every program needs that.
We need a lot of upgrades.
Right.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of upgrades.
There's no doubt.
And so the community could really help us.
Okay, so if you were to make a priority list right now and just said that this is my number one priority as far as facilities go, what would that number one thing be?
Field house. I need a place for the kids to
Right.
come in and call a place of their own, to be able to dress and work out and meet and just have a place for themselves. And so that's one thing that they really don't have. Well, they don't have it. I can't say really.
Yeah, and
they
I'll
don't
tell
have
you
it.
something else they don't have. They don't have a practice facility.
No,
Yeah.
no. And
They
so
do not have a practice
are-
facility, period. I mean,
that
it's-
would be my number one sitting on
Yeah.
Christmas list. Is,
Right.
hey, I need a field house with, Cascade has one, Central has one,
Right.
community doesn't.
And
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 so-
you being in the school up the road,
Yeah.
away from your field that you
Yeah.
play on, that puts you at a little bit of a struggle too,
Yeah.
because you could, if you were right there by the field, I mean, you could conceivably practice on it if you had to, and nobody likes to practice on their game field, but you're in a disadvantage. And
Yeah.
and I've been out there to some practices before and seen where they were practicing just out in the open field.
Right.
And I mean, you're gonna get kids hurt and stuff. You got holes. You got the grass is not proper. That's the way it was when I saw it.
Well,
So-
and that's hopefully going to change come springtime.
Yeah,
season starts changing, I can get out there and work the grass in the fields and seed and try to make it a little softer and keep water on it. Because I think I ran down to one of the buildings down there to see some more equipment on Thursday, and there was a spigot. So if that spigot works, then I can run some water and keep the grass green as best I can. So that part I'm not concerned about. It's just I need a facility. Right. That's the biggest thing, and that's priority one. I mean,
well, I'll say this: Bedford County has got some good folks.
They do.
The people over on the east side of Bedford County are pulling. They're pulling for community high school. The people at community high school pull for Shelbyville Central and Cascade. And then when the Battle of Bedford happens, there's a war that takes place.
That's right.
But after it's over with, everybody's still pulling for everybody. And that's one thing about this community. I think that once you get the ball rolling, I think you're going to see people step up from not just your area. I think the whole county will.
The point I was going to bring up earlier, too, was let's not forget Shelbyville Central High School was 1-10 a couple of years ago. Similar type situation where we're at a community.
Right.
The change was, look at the job those guys at Harris Middle School, back to what you were saying, the continuity that's at Harris. It started there. They started winning. They started going undefeated, and it took a little bit of time, but it translated to the high school level.
Yep.
And I think that's why I've always said those guys at Harris Middle School, top-notch. But the verbiage, the scheme, if you watch them, it's not the exact same plays, but it's the same. I don't have a guy down here running the spread and throwing it 50 times.
Right.
We're running the same type things. And I think that's part of why you've seen Shelbyville turn around.
And we say all this other stuff, but it's all about the kids.
Yep.
It's all about the kids. The kids are what's going to go on the field. You know, when David and I took over at Cascade, they were 0-10, whatever. The seniors that we had that year won more games. That's their senior year than they had won in their first 3 years combined. And that's where it's going to start. It's going to start by winning the kids. Facilities are great.
Yep.
That's great, but that's not going to win. A field house is not going to win.
No.
The facilities are good, but you got to win the kids, get them to believe, get them to work. When they work for you, that's where it's going to start. What's going to change his program is when he goes in that first year and he wins 2, 3, 4 games.
And he's competitive.
In all of them.
Yep.
Or most of them. And that's where you're going to see, for him next year, an 8-win season, that's not. He wins 4 games next year. I'm just telling you, Coach Ted, you win 4 games next year, they'll have you on the pedicle with a crown.
You don't want that, though, do you?
No, you don't, because you want it for the kids.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is, and they will be hungry, and when they will work for you instead of work against you, when they work for you, it all come together. But the thing is, what do you want most is I want the kids to be successful.
Yeah. I want it to be fun for them.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
Right. And it's not fun to lose.
It's not fun. It's
winning is fun.
Yeah.
56-0 is not fun.
Yeah.
No, it's not fun.
For anybody.
I've been there.
You've been on the other end of it.
I've been a part of a program when I lived in Virginia and a coach of an 0-10 season. And it's tough keeping the kids around keeping them coming back to practice. So you've had to do things to make it fun, and even making it fun wasn't fun because you're still 0-10. So, I've been there.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share with the community? We've asked some questions and just what we've had on our mind, but what's on your mind as far as stepping in? Is there anything you wanted to share?
Well, I mean, I know my family, we're all in the community. I've got
you got them spread out everywhere.
I've got kids everywhere. I've got my 4th grader, he's at Thomas. I've got my sophomore, she's at Central, cheerleader at Central, so I'll be there off and on. And then I've got one that plays basketball at Cascade. So
oh wow,
of course my wife works at the Central office, and now I'm between Cascade and community until I get to community. So we're everywhere. So
you're fans of everybody.
You go see me all over the place. No matter. Don't worry. I'll be everywhere. So, but yeah.
Well, Coach, we got a seat at this table all the time, and we'd love to
Always.
have
We'd
you
love to
come.
have you
Love
back.
to have you
And
back.
all of our
Anytime.
coaches out there are always welcome to come and just sit down and talk about their program, about their kids, because that's what we're about, just supporting these kids and getting them the attention they deserve and the recognition they deserve, because, there's not a lot of positive things around these days, and that's
right.
one thing that's positive. Look at those kids and how they develop and succeed in the classroom and on the sports field. So
Keep coming back and keeping you up to date on how things are going.
we want to know
So,
that.
Yes,
Absolutely.
exactly. And
One
anything,
thing.
anything I can do, anything we can do to help you.
Yep.
Yeah, we want to see you be successful.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
for sure.
That's why I got my hat on today.
Hopefully, I'll see you guys on the sidelines on Friday night.
Yep. Yep. We can do that. We
Also.
can
Oh, no,
really
I was going to ask. Sit in the stands or on the sidelines?
You be wherever you want to be.
All right.
More than
All
welcome
right.
to be down on the sidelines.
All right.
Hearing what's going on.
Yeah,
like to
absolutely.
be
It
down
gives
there close.
insight that you
Yeah.
don't get.
I don't want to
anywhere
see it.
else.
I want to smell it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Coach, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back and talk some NCAA football. And we want you to chime in on that because I already know you got some opinions that you want to share probably. But we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor, First Bank and Kincaid.
Service.
Company.
We'll be right back.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street today.
I need to get mine.
All righty. Welcome back in here to Bedford County Sports Talk Live. We're going to talk some NCAA football. And I know, Bill, you're all over this bracket.
Well, we got a big game today.
Yeah,
Army and Navy.
Yeah, I asked you if there's
Exactly.
going to be a pass thrown. You said that
Hey,
the
okay,
Army
yeah.
probably would.
Army's quarterback's for real.
That team. You know what they're going to do? They're going to butt heads. You talked about the Battle of Bedford.
Yeah.
They're going to butt heads. They're going to butt heads. They're going to butt heads, and then after the game, a bunch of them are going to go to war together.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope they don't, but
I hope they don't either.
But they're being prepared for it. They'll be preparing for it.
Hey, that's my kind of offense right there.
yeah,
Yeah, I
there you
agree.
go.
I love
There you
that
go.
offense. I wished I was smart enough to have been able to do that. I've always loved to be there.
Well, it used to be 4 yards in a cloud of dust. Now it's
Yeah.
4 yards in a shower of pellets that comes up off that little rubber
Let me
thing.
just tell you, that Army quarterback, guys, is for real.
Yeah.
He is an awesome athlete. He's big. He's strong. He's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're predicting Army's going to.
I think Army's going to wallop Navy today. I think
Okay.
Army's so much better than they are. It's not, and Navy's good. I just think Army's really good. I think you could have made an argument for Army being close to this playoff thing too, if Notre Dame hadn't blown them out the way they did. That's what got them, was that. But your first playoff game is next Friday night, and it's Indiana Notre Dame. The Todd Bobo line is 7.5. Notre Dame's giving Indiana 7.5. All the lines on these games, guys, are over 7.5 points.
Well,
That's not unusual.
well,
Yeah,
I'm thinking a playoff, it ought to be a little closer. I would think there'd be
you've always got your better ones, but
two of them are over 11 points. Two lines.
when you say that, would surprise me to see an upset.
Indiana could play with them.
I don't disagree.
SMU's at Penn State on the next Saturday, and that's at 11 o'clock. And I noticed these games are on TNT, by the way, guys, the first two. TNT.
yeah.
Wonder what's up with that.
I think the first three, aren't they?
The
I still
Tennessee
think
game's
it's
on the
part of the
ESPN.
ESPN deal from what I was reading.
Okay.
They just have to spread out the wealth a little bit.
Right.
From what I understand, I could be wrong, but I think that's what I understood.
SMU, Penn State, and you got Clemson, Texas. Line's 11.5 on that one.
That's the only one I don't see an upset in.
Yeah, I think Texas will handle business. And then Tennessee at Ohio State. Line 7.5. Ohio State's favored. And I keep hearing about cold weather. The temperature prediction for next Saturday night is 34 in Columbus, Ohio. 38 in Knoxville, Tennessee. How's it any colder than Knoxville?
And they talk about snow. Them goers in Knoxville ain't never seen snow before.
They act like that's what they act like. That cold weather. I mean, Knoxville is in the mountains.
We're not in
It's
Miami.
cold.
We're not in Miami here.
Don't give me this cold
Hey,
thing.
I tell you right now. Don't turn your back on Tennessee.
No, I think their defense is good enough to where if they score 28 points, they'll win the ball game.
But I think the problem with this thing's seeded is poor Oregon, who supposedly is the 1 seed, would have to face Tennessee or Ohio State. I don't like the way this thing was seeded.
Well, let's make some predictions here. Go back to Indiana, Notre Dame. I see an upset. I see Indiana upset Notre Dame.
Well, Indiana has I think a top 10 defense, especially stopping the run.
But when we say that,
I don't know
now,
who they play.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
they
that.
ain't played.
Yeah.
So
Notre Dame's played really well since that one upset, though. They've really rolled some people. I'm gonna stick with Notre Dame there.
I've noticed in your rankings you've kept them high all year.
Yeah.
You're a fan. Aren't
No,
you?
I'm not a fan,
Oh,
but
yeah,
after that, I've never been a Golden Domer.
Okay.
But you watch how they play,
yeah,
and I think they're a lot better football team. Penn State's the one that I'm just not sold on, guys. I'm not sold on them.
The only thing that I can see where SMU will struggle will be up front,
right,
on the offensive line. If Penn State can get to them, I can see it. But SMU's got some guys that can run.
And the moment was too big. I think
they're
for
talking
SMU.
about that one because of the cold. The SMU boys. They're SMU, but I don't know the transfer portal. I don't know where all the kids come from.
That's right.
So they could very well be. Most of them used to the cold. SMU's got some athletes.
They do have athletes.
SMU's got some athletes.
They get loose.
And I think the moment was a little bit too much for them in that ACC game. They got in such a hole in the first half. The second half came on. SMU played and made it really competitive the second half.
If they'd have come out of the breaks, come out and got rid of the first quarter, that ain't even a ball game.
It would have been a ball game. SMU would have won a ball game.
Yeah.
And Alabama would have been in.
That's exactly right.
Now, the question I've got for you guys is obviously Georgia comes in the 2 seed. But let's say, since they've lost their quarterback, that they had lost to Texas. So they lost the SEC title game.
Come on, you're giving all this dang.
Well, hang on.
Is
Georgia even in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in it.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
You don't?
I think they'd have put Alabama in there.
All we know is Georgia's in.
Because there's a precedent with what happened to Florida State's quarterback.
I don't. But let's don't get into that one.
Well, how do you have Boise State? I hope we're going to change the way we see these things. Boise State and Arizona State shouldn't have a bye.
I know. It doesn't make sense.
You'll
have
to see.
Well,
I
it's
think there'll be
obviously
some changes. And when it's going to be great. It's all going to be good. We're going to put 12 teams in now. We're not going to have the controversy that we did. Bull hockey. You got more teams.
Well, they're already talking about adding 2 more and making it 14.
And here's the thing, everybody. Of course, I'm Alabama. I picked Alabama last week. It didn't matter if they put Alabama in or they put SMU in. They're going to have conflict. There's going to be. SMU deserved. And I'll say this for the Alabama players. I was really proud of them. The fact that they said, we didn't deserve.
Yeah.
We let too many get away. And then they talk about Alabama's not going to. Their athletic director, we're going to not play, the outside competition. What? The outside competition didn't want to beat you.
No, it's
Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Tennessee, your SEC people will beat you. And then somebody else, when the schedules came out this week, they said, I'd like to see Penn State, Indiana, and SMU play this schedule right here and see where they would be.
Yeah. I think that the playoff system is fantastic that 12 teams have an opportunity now versus just 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a step in the right direction. But I've heard people say, well, the goal is to get the top 12 teams, the best 12 teams in the NCAA to play it off. And that's not what's happening.
That ain't never going to happen. No. It's never going to happen.
But what they said was
it's all an
their
opinion.
2 big criteria are head-to-head and a conference champion, correct? Okay? And head-to-head, after you played this out, I know Penn State played a title game, but Ohio State had beat Penn State fairly convincingly. So to me, Ohio State, it'll be Tennessee and Penn State probably. But here's the big one for you guys on 2 ends. Clemson not only beat SMU, they win head-to-head, and they win the conference championship, and they're seated below SMU at 12. Just saying, that was 2 of your major criteria were head-to-head conference championship.
Didn't they have 3 losses?
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
And see, I think they look at all that. To me, you can have 3 losses and still be better than somebody that didn't have any.
Yeah, I look at when
you look at the right-hand column and want to do all your criteria on what happened with that right-hand column, ain't got a thing in the
South
world.
Carolina was the
That's
three
what I
loss
was
team.
getting ready
You
to
didn't
say.
want this thing.
Oh, yes.
I wouldn't have wanted to play South Carolina.
Here's my deal with any of that. When you go head to head, if South Carolina played whoever, what's the Todd Bobo line going to be? Is South Carolina going to be giving up points? Well, if they're giving up points to an SMU, then they should be there, and SMU's not.
Exactly.
If they're giving up points to this,
I think
that's how you get your better seeded
I think
team.
the guys in Las Vegas should pick the 12. That's going to be more accurate.
There you go.
Hey,
Seriously.
I went and plugged in, just messing around on the computer, and plugged in the 12 teams, like who at the end of the year in the old BCS, and it wasn't a lot of the ones that are in it now if you went by what that criteria was. So use that method.
I think you got Alabama and South Carolina that are in the top 12 if you were to rank them right now based on the year and where they are right now.
Don't get rid of Ole Miss.
I know. They're in there too.
Penn State's only, and I hate to keep beating on Penn State, their only good win was against number 22 Illinois. That's their only top 25 win all year long.
Well, whose was Ohio State's?
Penn State.
Well, whose was Penn State?
Illinois.
Then how is Ohio State's big win against Penn State? When
right.
you said Penn State ain't been nobody either, so then Ohio State
I
ain't
go
beat
back to the
nobody.
head-to-head thing. I go back to the head-to-head thing.
All right, let's move on.
All right, yeah, but it's going to be fun to watch it play out on the field. How do y'all see these games? Now we made a prediction here. I'm gonna pick.
I'm picking Indiana.
I'm picking Indiana.
I'm gonna
Upset
take Notre
Dame. Okay.
Coach.
I'm gonna go with Indiana.
All right, three Indianas.
All right, and then what we got?
SMU, Penn State.
I'm gonna go with SMU.
I'm going with SMU.
Well, you're taking you'd say to beat the line or to beat Penn State
To beat
outright?
Just beat them.
Just going to beat. There ain't no line about it.
Okay.
They ain't gonna move on to the next round because
Who you gonna
of the
take?
line.
I'm gonna take SMU.
All right, everybody's SMU.
Yeah.
I'm going Penn State.
There you go. We want
Contrary.
that. Yeah, here you go. We talked about how
And now
bad
I'm
they
going-
were,
and now
and
I'm
now
picking
you're going to pick them.
All right.
Clemson and Texas.
Texas.
We're all going to go for this one.
Yeah,
That may not be
That's a
pretty.
long
Oh, speaking of Texas, have y'all heard the rumor that Arch Manning might be transferring to Ole Miss? Have y'all heard that this week?
Yes.
Is it true? Or is it just
I think a
some
lot depends on what
nonsense?
happens with the other quarterback. Does
He's
he
gone.
transfer?
He's gone.
He's got another year.
He's already said he's going to
He's going to
NFL.
NFL?
He's going to NFL.
Well, he hurt himself because
He's
he was a
going to
top
NFL.
5 pick, and now they're saying he's a second round pick.
He's going to NFL.
All right, now the big one.
Tennessee, Ohio State. At Ohio State. Night game.
I'm picking Tennessee. I'm an SEC homer, boy. Let me just tell you, I'm an SEC homer.
I'm pulling for Tennessee so bad, but I'm afraid.
I'm an SEC homer.
If the
And I
game
know
was in
all my
Knoxville,
Alabama buddies is going to say, "Hey, you going if you're picking Tennessee, you ain't true Alabama." I'm a SEC,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna tell you right now, their defense can play with anybody. I don't know that Ohio State can score.
I hope you're right. I'm picking Ohio State. I hate it because I just don't think Tennessee's offense can do what it needs to do. I don't know. But I'm picking Ohio State on that.
Coach?
Well, I'm gonna be like Kenny. I can't believe I'm going down that path.
You and I both.
Because I get.
Would Robbie Davis be proud of me when he sat right
Yes.
there last week?
I'll go with Tennessee because I'm an SEC guy, but it's
If the
tough.
game was
It
in
is
Knoxville,
tough.
if the game was in Knoxville, it would be Tennessee for me all the
Yeah,
way.
but it would be too hot
But
for
this
Ohio
team-
State because the
4
weather.
degrees.
Yeah.
This Tennessee team has just not played well on the road, guys. I mean, they just haven't.
They can run the ball.
That's the key.
You got to remember, how did Michigan beat Penn State
Yeah.
or Ohio State?
Well, I think
They
maybe
gave the
Tennessee
blueprint.
should
They
put the
gave the
Wolverine on
blueprint.
their helmet, see him come out in Michigan uniform, they'd win the game.
Get out of here, Bill.
That looked good.
You ain't made your prediction.
I hate to do it. I'm going to go with Ohio State.
I know, man.
I don't want to do it. But I'm
Golly.
going. And here I took the home team every
I
time.
hear all this stuff from him all year,
I know.
and now he's going to go picking against
I took the
them.
home
Well,
team in every
hey,
one of
but
them.
I'm for Tennessee.
I am for
but I just,
Tennessee
if
hardcore.
you just are you analytically, I'm looking at it and saying,
All right, I'm going to call
Ohio
you
State.
George Parker
why?
because you're picking one team, and then when the other team wins, well, I always thought they
No,
could do
I'm
it.
just gonna
They're going
say
back to
I'm
the
gonna be
video.
I will be very happy and surprised if Tennessee wins the game, and I hope they do because I want to see them go. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm an SEC fan
I'm
first.
an SEC
They
fan.
get a good chance.
If you're
they
an
win- if
SEC
they
fan,
win.
you're going to pick SEC. Why do you think I picked Alabama last week? Because I was an Alabama fan.
I know.
All right, there
I
you
know.
go. I'm
trying to keep that out of my.
I'm not going to be a
All right.
washer wisher.
No, washer. All right, well, guys, we're running out of time, but let's talk about some.
Let's talk about Tennessee basketball.
Well,
for a minute.
okay,
they're still number one in the country. They're 9-0, and today at 5:30 or 4:30 on Fox, they play Illinois at Illinois.
Is there any doubt that Tennessee's number one?
Not right now. There's not. Coach Barnes did a remarkable
good.
job he's done
Man,
up there.
they look good.
Remarkable job. And they're going to get that transfer kid
They'll
getting
be
healthy.
Illinois because Alabama did.
Oh, that's right. Alabama did beat them, didn't they?
Is that how we figure that?
That's how I
All right, okay. All right. Sounds
There
good.
you go.
to me.
That's that head-to-head Bill was talking about.
Even these top teams that you've seen over the years that dominate, when you go in and playing a 35-game schedule, you're going to get a couple losses because you got somebody injured or
something.
Two
best teams I've seen play
Tennessee
and Auburn.
Those are your
Coach
top
Pearl,
two.
and Alabama's right up there with them, too.
Hey, the SEC in basketball is looking like the SEC in football.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on
ACC
Calipari at Arkansas. He's going to turn that around quick, and he already is.
Yeah,
And the guy at Kentucky's done a phenomenal job because Calipari basically took everything. And the Kentucky guy, they're in the top 10.
Is the SEC just going to dominate every sport?
Yes.
When it's all, I mean, it's
Very
looking
well
that way.
good.
Looking that way.
Baseball, football, softball, basketball.
Basketball. What else is there?
No.
Swimming.
and then when that revenue share comes out, it's going to get even better.
Yeah.
And at some point, the Big Ten and the SEC are going to tell the NCAA what they're going to do. That's coming too.
Well,
because without those two, that's
What
where
we
the
got
money
next?
comes from.
What we got next?
all right, NFL. Do you want to talk about the Titans?
No.
No. Why?
Let's just skip it.
What was the score of the last game?
I don't know.
Come
I mean,
on,
the Jacksonville game,
Yeah,
10-6.
10-6.
One of the worst pro football games I ever
I
watched
know.
in my life.
Nobody
I
wanted to
like
win
those
the
games.
game.
I
Terrible
like those
football.
kind of games.
Nobody wanted
Just
to
like
win.
that game
watched every-
Thursday night was. The NFL ought to really think about doing away with Thursday night football, except the first game of the year and Thanksgiving. These Thursday night games, the players aren't ready. It's too short of a week. And typically, most of these games aren't very good. They're just not.
What do you attribute that to? Is it just the matchups
Well,
you get?
no,
You
I
get
think
some
it's
good
having to play on
matchups.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
And if
Well,
you play
they
on
have-
Sunday, you're playing on 3 days rest.
Here, you talk about the match. The matchups they do all this early in the year,
of course.
and then when you take a team like San Francisco,
They're not
and they
what they
get
thought you were
depleted
going to have.
with their athletes and all that.
Who played this week?
It was the 49ers and the Rams. It was 12-6. They
Right.
couldn't score a touchdown.
No.
Nobody could, and it was
Yeah.
raining.
You know what? That's what happened with the Packers and the Jags the other day, but it was on Sunday and couldn't nobody score a touchdown.
The Packers this week are going to Seattle, and I'm telling you, everybody's sleeping on. Did you know Seattle probably has been the best
Pretty
team in
good.
the NFL for the last
They're
month?
pretty good.
They're good.
I
They've
think they've
their
won
last
4 in a row.
Yeah, they're 4 in a row.
And
At
that's
home.
maybe the toughest place to play in the
And
NFL is Seattle.
And here's another thing. There's probably going to be a rematch. Very well could be a rematch in the playoffs, first round of the playoffs, because the Packers are probably going to be the second wild card team.
Yeah.
And they would probably match Seattle again, so that could very well be.
So it'll be a wild card playoff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You got the Chiefs leading that division, and then you got the Seahawks.
No, Chiefs not in that division.
Chiefs
They're
in
not?
the AFC.
That's NFC.
Oh, I'm
Chiefs
sorry.
NFC,
I'm
Seahawks,
sorry.
NFC.
I'm getting
Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit,
Yeah.
And Detroit's got Buffalo, and that's Sunday afternoon. There's some great games
Yeah.
at 3:30. That's
Sunday night's a
Where
good
is that?
game too. That's
Yeah.
Packers. That's Packers.
Packers,
Seahawks.
No,
Yeah.
I'm
Where's
talking
that
about
game?
the Seahawks.
Who's
They're
that,
leading their
Buffalo?
division.
Yeah,
the
aren't they?
Seahawks are going to win the
Yeah.
division.
Inside or
You're right.
outside?
So they're
It's supposed to
not
be
not
bad weather up there, too.
Is it
wild card.
I think Detroit Buffalo's in Detroit.
It's in Detroit.
Yeah.
That's inside. That's good.
So you got the Cardinals start out hot. They fizzled. Then you've got
Seahawks are going to win the
and
NFC.
San Francisco was picked to win it,
Well,
but then you got all these
they're
injuries.
not locked.
No, they're
They're
not.
not locked.
Not yet,
Uh-uh.
but they are playing.
The
good.
Rams after
Yeah,
And
they
their
are.
running
The
back,
Rams still got a chance.
their first team running back was hurt,
They're
and now Zach Charbonnet stepping up to take
they're
his
getting
place.
a little healthy, but they still got some injuries. But Packers are getting a little better healthy too.
Now you got the Pittsburgh is at the Eagles. Line's 4.5, and the Eagles. You're starting to see some disruption. This is kind of the problem with AJ Brown as he starts throwing fits. Even though we've won 9 in a row, I'm not getting the ball, and I'm whining and crying. Let's see what happens there. But Jalen Hurts is going to start throwing the football better.
Yeah.
You cannot win in the NFL in the playoffs and throw for 108 yards.
I'm liking Pittsburgh.
I think we're going to
I don't.
oil the wheel here, and I think A.J. Brown's going to have 100 yards and a couple touchdowns,
Right.
and they're going to make a point to throw it to him. But the MVP, everybody says it's Josh Allen, and maybe it is. It's Saquon Barkley to me, guys. He's fixing to maybe set the all-time NFL rush record this year. He well good in these last 4
He got
games.
1,600 now?
1,600 and something yards. His total yards are right at 2,000
He's
already.
got an extra game.
Sure.
He got 2 extra games according to the.
But in this day and age of NFL football, what he's done is phenomenal.
Well, you know why? Because the defenses have changed their philosophy to stop the throw.
The throw, and then you have to stop
Just
the
like
Barkley.
you asked Coach Tidwell earlier, what are you going to do when all these guys are spreading it? Well, what's their defenses been key to do? Stop the spread because everybody else is spreading it. Now you're going to come in and do something. It's a revolving wheel.
And you got a running quarterback like Hurts that helps with that as well.
Yeah.
My thing was eventually, in my opinion, Hurts is going to get hurt and shorten his career off that tush push. And I don't know when and it's already happened a couple times where at the end of the year he's hurt. Because you've got 300-pound men coming into your back end.
That ain't. If he gets hurt, that's not where he's going to get hurt. He's going to get hurt because he does all this other. Anytime you put that much pressure on him, running and scrambling, Lamar's same way, but Lamar's a little different than Jalen because Lamar's a little more shifty. It's hard to get a good hit on him,
and he knows how to protect himself.
And Jalen's squatting 600 pounds and missing all that. He ain't scared to take a hit or give one. So that's where they'll get hurt if and when they do.
But the Bills Lions game, that's the game of the week. That's going to be awesome.
I think the Packers-Seattle game is going to be a good game too. But there's going to be more on the Bills Lions.
Those are 3 good ball games.
Yeah, I'm predicting the Bills to upset the Lions this time. I think finally the injuries are fixing to catch up with Detroit a little bit on the defensive side. They got like 15 guys on our
I'll tell you what, Detroit's hard to defend.
Yeah, they are.
Because they're not 3 downs and punt on 4s. They're 4 downs, and you got to play second down like first down, and you got to play third down like second down because you can't let them be in 4th and 2, 4th and 3. You got to make them. They're
best running back tandem in the league.
No doubt.
Green Bay's played Detroit twice. Detroit scored 6 touchdowns against Green Bay, and 4 of the 6 were on 4th down.
He loves to go for it.
All right, so you're picking the Bills?
I'm going to pick the Bills in the upset here.
All right, I'm picking the Lions.
And then I'll take the Eagles over the Steelers.
I'm Lions and Eagles.
I'm going to take the Seahawks over the Packers.
I'm taking Seahawks, Pittsburgh, and the Lions.
Guys, just killing me.
Coach.
You come wearing all your green today.
And I'll tell you this. I'll take whoever's playing the Titans for the win.
I get you.
They're playing Cincy.
I don't care who they're playing.
I
don't care.
Cincy's where all their start stuff. That's where the
fall down
game. That game is when the Titans started their downfall. Whenever they had
when Tannehill blew a cog in his brain, he just never got over it.
And maybe he gets turned today. And Tennessee beats them.
The jinx is gone.
The jinx is gone.
Hey, I heard a rumor we'll put out there.
A rumor you're going to put out there?
How about Mike Vrabel to the Chicago Bears?
I heard that. I also heard Mike Vrabel to the Dallas Cowboys, too.
The Bears would be interesting if Vrabel went there with the quarterback and everything already there.
North Carolina?
That's a good – we hadn't brought that up.
Hey.
What is that? Can he coach at the college level?
Absolutely.
He's going to hit that portal. Deion Sanders showed you the way to do it.
He's going to hit that. That's nothing different than what
I'm not talking about his ability. I'm talking about the players now versus the players that he's had over the years. As far as interaction with them and him being
exactly.
The good thing about this is
the coaches he's going to get. Man, what would you want on your resume to coach for Belichick to learn, and the players he's going to get because the ones that's played for him. He's going to move them. The ones that's going to want to go to the NFL are going to come to him, and
he may excel at it, just like Saban. He may excel at it.
More pro guys coming to college because of
what?
Being able to give them money and the portal deal.
And you see,
GM.
Dan Mullins went to UNLV. He's and the big thing with those 2 deals is the coaches are being paid. But they're putting so much money in their NIL package. They're putting so much money in the NIL package, and when you got that money in the NIL package, that's the money you have to go out in your free agency and shop.
And that's all it is.
Yeah, it's NFL junior version.
I agree.
Yep.
And I'm telling you what, who was the best at it in the NFL? Who could go get something that wasn't real good? And
he did it
and went. Belichick.
Every year you look at his roster and say, who are these guys? And they're sitting there 12-4.
And
Randy Moss is done. He goes to New England. He sets an NFL record.
I know it.
He resurrected a bunch of guys.
Yeah. And he's smart.
But he also had Tom Brady.
Yeah, but he was winning Super Bowls
smart.
when Brady, he was winning. Defense won a bunch of those Super Bowls. I'm not
knocking
knocking Brady towards the end. But early on, it was that defense.
But who taught Brady? Somebody had to teach him.
I think
it's in the system. Well. He got in the system, and he was all in. Brady was all in. He understood.
Belichick's going to be successful.
Belichick might have had trouble in the Southeastern Conference, but in the ACC, it's perfect for him. What's he really got to do there? Seriously.
Who they got to beat?
There we go. I'm just saying.
Penn State.
Well, no, I mean, it's going to be Clemson, but Clemson doesn't believe in NIL. They give the leg up there.
I'm just anxious to hear Belichick come out and do press conferences in the NCAA.
Listen,
the way he did
when I coached at Cascade, I went to the Alabama coaching clinic every year. 2 years in a row, Belichick comes in and he speaks to all the high school coaches at the Alabama coaching clinic. He can bring it down to your level. He can talk above your head, but that dude knows X's and O's.
Yes, he does.
And not only does he know X's and O's are good, but Jimmy's and Joe's are what win the game. He's good at X's and O's and knows where to put the Jimmy's and Joe's in that, get them to believe, get them to work, and he's successful. Why was he not successful there toward the end at New England?
What is coaching?
It wasn't because he didn't know. It's because the kids just didn't.
He didn't draft well.
He didn't.
His buy in
with
that's what I'm anxious to see if he can do.
But
watch the staff he puts together.
But when he was in charge of who he could get, there toward the end, they took that away from him.
Yeah,
they took that away from him. He didn't get what he wanted.
Let me ask you, talking about this in general, and we've talked about this many times, Coach. I want to get your take on this. The game of college football has changed to where it's become, I call it NFL junior.
Sure, yeah.
Are we teaching kids the right thing? They're still kids. They're what, 18 to 22, 23 years old.
There's no loyalty in the game anymore.
I know. What are we teaching those kids, though?
Teaching them how to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
a lot of it.
Exactly.
And you know what?
And the ones that don't have that contract, I mean, they're getting mixed up in the mess.
But
here's the true scholar athlete.
All the ones that didn't want to work, that just want to be paid. It's no different than society today. People don't want to work, but they want to be paid.
That's true.
They don't want to work; they want to be paid, and that's what you're seeing going on right now.
Now I get mad at Coach Parker, and I just want to. I'm gonna go play for Coach Tidwell.
Yeah. I know.
Especially when Coach Tidwell's going to give me $200,000 more than what Coach Parker's giving me.
I think commitment and loyalty are a very important part of society, and I think we're teaching these kids now that doesn't mean anything.
And I think another thing, that's why you see on National Signing Days, this kid where Bill Anderson's been committed to David Thomas for all this time,
and then changed.
But then the day before the sign. He signs with Coach Tidwell. Happened to deal with that NIL package.
Well, see, in college, we're still developing young people. I mean, I just don't.
You're not.
It bothers me.
In athletics, they're not. In college football, it's not about academics anymore.
Oh, I know. That's my point.
It's about the game.
That's my point.
Where it bothers me is the college part is Shedeur Sanders at Colorado get $5 million, but I, as his offensive coordinator or quarterback coach, is making $800,000.
Yeah,
and he's supposed to look at me as coach, and
he's going to tell you what to do.
And so, to me, on that level, I just don't like that the kids are making more than the coaches that are coaching them. And it's like, why do I have to listen to you?
And you're going to see the NFL people are saying now. Used to you'd see this junior that's declaring for the draft. They're not doing it now because they're making more money.
In
They're
NIL.
making more money
Yeah.
with NIL in college than they're going to be when they get on that rookie salary in the NFL.
Speaking of recruiting, Tennessee had a good class, but there was this kid, David Sanders, which was the #1 lineman in the country. Committed Tennessee. Now he's sneaking over to Ohio State, and at the last minute they get him back. I'm told it cost them $1.6 million to get him to come back from Ohio State.
That ain't.
We went from one
Up
extreme
front.
to another.
Yeah.
It was illegal to give a kid $300 in a
Yes, in a
McDonald's,
McDonald's
bag to buy hamburgers or feed his family, help feed his family. Now we've gone from that and talking about penalizing schools for it to promoting this whatever it is.
And now,
It's insane
at
to me.
Tennessee, Spire's no longer going to do the NIL. Is my understanding that it's going to the SEC, especially. It's going to be the school taking the TV monies. That's right.
Yeah.
And that's how they're going
revenue sharing. Yeah.
They're going to take that revenue, and the school's paying the money now.
It's kind of like saying, from what I gather, is you get $25 million. Everybody gets, like, say, $25 million, and they can disperse it however they want to. Now, the number could be higher or lower, but that's,
And then you got the boosters on top of it,
you
which that
yeah.
part's never going to change.
Hey, something that just jumped out at me this year watching UT football is, I know who the owners of UT football are. Pilot.
Yep.
It's stamped all over the field.
You can't deny
Pilot
that.
truck stops. Okay, Ohio State. Who's theirs? It's stamped somewhere on their field, or you see it. That big sponsor that's being there, huh?
You know why?
What? Because they can.
Because they can. That money's going into NIL.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And what's NIL doing? It's getting them athletes.
Exactly. They're the owners of the team. They're the owners.
They're not owning the team. They're buying in
That's right.
to help the team.
Trust me. Pilot Truck Stop owns UT football.
Hey, they're not going to do exactly.
It's like
what
these
they
bowls too. The Cheez-It Bowl, the Tic Tac
I
Bowl.
know.
I mean, we did away with all the cool bowl names. And
It's just fun just talking about just how things are changing.
Hey,
right?
speaking of bowls, you gonna have our sheet next week so we can pick.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
we have bowl sheet.
Because I think the
Y'all
Y'all have
actual
lost
bowl
for
games
2
start
years in
next
a
week.
row.
That's what, it's got to be a change. You're not letting Dr.
I
Grant
just
back
got
in,
Dr.
are you?
Grant.
I
no.
get it. We might win the thing.
She
I
got
won
it the
2 years
first
in a row.
time. I got it last year. Y'all got to get with it.
Well, you ain't won, but hey, listen to you. You 1-4.
No, we ain't done it but 3 years.
Well, you're 1-3.
Yeah.
1, 2.
That means you're a major league baseball player, aren't you?
Yeah, that's
You're
right.
good to
I'm
be
at
3.
300.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wind things down. Again,
Yeah,
we want
I'm getting late.
thank Coach Tidwell for sitting down and putting up
Yes.
with our nonsense.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
It's always
so come
fun.
back anytime.
Thank the people for
Yeah.
putting up with our nonsense.
thanks
Got
for
somebody from
putting-
California
Especially
talking
somebody
to us.
from California.
Tamara
says,
Price. We got
Yes.
Della Hargrove, Helen Raby always, and Scott Spray. #1 Sheffield Central High School Eagle fan.
There
Good to
you
see
go.
you guys in there watching this morning. And there's others. Thanks for watching. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, First Bank here in Shelbyville and Kincaid.
Service.
company. Don't forget to go out and support your teams. Now, I'm not sure where everybody's at, but I'm sure somebody's going to
Right.
be playing at home this week.
That's
So
absolutely
let's
right.
get there and support our people. I know today is the wrap up day for the elementary basketball tournament
Mhm.
Yeah.
at Thomas Magnet School.
Right.
So if you get there, you got some kids that's going to the elementary. They're wrapping their basketball tournament up today at Thomas Magnet.
All righty. Well, we'll be back same place.